introduce Emmanuel. He is a teacher that tries to be creative and still has a lot to learn. I think that's the perfect bio for all of us and very inspiring. Oh, some of you can see him? Oh, that's strange. Okay. Gee, I'm only the host. Why don't they let me see you? All right. Well, I'll let you get started. You have control over the slides. I've got the timer. And thanks for being here, and take it away.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation, first of all, and for the opportunity to speak here. Okay, I'm a bit nervous, so I hope everything will be okay. So reading is a really nice activity that I particularly enjoy doing with my students. And as we all know, reading comprehension is the ability to process a text, understand its meaning, and integrate it with what a reader already knows. And usually good readers are the people who use what in the world to interact with what they are reading. And this helps them create meaning from the words on the page. And I believe that it can be a very creative activity. And generally, creativity is one of my favorite life skills because I think it's a necessary life skill to have and to teach to our students. So, I think that a very good idea concerning reading is to use darts. And of course, I do not mean something like the cartoon here, which I'm not sure that whether you can see the caption below it where it says, no, they wouldn't keep still at first. But then I thought, hey, what's the use of being a tribesman if you can't use a few paralyzing darts? So I don't mean these darts, even though sometimes they might be useful in a very, let's say, active classroom. But what I mean by using darts is the directed activities related to texts. These are activities where students get the chance to interact with the text. They are activities which really improve the reading comprehension of our students, and they teach also our students how to become critical readers. So in my presentation today, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just present 3 or 4 different practical activities very quickly, of course, because the time is not much. And I hope that you are going to find them interesting. So one activity from the classic ones is filling in the missing words. So you have a text, you have some gaps, some words missing, and students try to understand what kind of word might be missing by reading the sentence and trying to understand from the context, maybe. Also, something that was already mentioned more or less, put in the correct order double text or paragraphs. So you give to the students a text which is not in the correct order, and you work with them to try and understand the logical relationships about how a text is written. And also this way we practice also prediction skills. Some other activities might be to find parts of the text that contain specific information, the scanning activity that Kathy mentioned a while ago. So you can ask them specific questions and you can train them to find the information that answer this. Also, the comprehension questions, ask the students questions about the text, what they understood and what they didn't. Another very nice idea, which I really like doing with my students, of course, now I'm teaching mainly adults, but even with my younger students, we still had that, is that you can create a diagram of the story and you can fill in the important information, like you keep the most important things from a story. A very nice activity because from a whole text, students learn how to keep what really are and the important information. Now, another activity. So, of course, texts, and I think this is one activity that most teachers also enjoy doing, is to use which is a really creative activity. You can teach the text. If they are adults like my students, analyze and try to understand more about let's say a play or a novel, and just to prepare some props and costumes and add the story out. And I have to tell you here that even adults, even though in the start of this activity they are a bit hesitant about doing this, after a while they really enjoy doing it. It really helps even those adults who are not very confident in using the ring. Another one would be to make it short. So you have student or a text, and then you ask them to write a summary, or maybe just obviously keeping what is really important, and or maybe even prepare an oral presentation of that, which is mainly focused on the understanding of the story or of the text. I really like this activity, and I even use it with exam classes because I think that it really helps them understand and being faster, finding the essential information that they are going to need afterwards, even for examinations, not only reading for pleasure. Also, this is important because if you teach even business English students, a lot of times to know how to give presentations, and starting by giving presentations of story, and maybe you can start with stories they know but have never in English, makes them feel safer, and this way makes them want to talk and participate. Another one is to change the narration, which can really be funny sometimes. You can tell the story in first person instead of the third person that usually story is written into. Or you can choose a character, even use a minor character to narrate the story. So one activity that I have with some teenage students I have is to narrate the story of the Lord of the Rings from the side of Smeagol, for example. And it was really, really funny. And another was to change the narration by asking students to present the story like they are TV presenters and they are preparing a news bulletin. So they get ready and they just give the most important. And which I really find really interesting is to mix stories. So you can have a story and then read it from two different narrations. For one example that they usually use is the because we have all sorts of